Kia ora, this is Arun Jacob, your friendly and frank licensed New Zealand immigration advisor, as well as education advisor, coming live once again from the beautiful city of Hamilton, New Zealand. I'm coming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Instagram. So, big hello to all our followers on Instagram. And I'm going to turn back to the main camera, which is where most of the interactions happen. On Facebook and YouTube. Big thank you for all our wonderful clients who have been supporting us and our work to attract the best talent from around the world to come to New Zealand and make this your temporary or permanent home. That is the work that AJV Services, which is our company, which is also popularly called as AJV Global, has been doing for the past many years. As most of you are aware, I am a licensed immigration advisor. That is my license, which was issued to me by the government of New Zealand, and I continue to hold on to this license with a lot of pride and joy because it allows me to come live week after week and also meet people in person and explain the different ways and means through which you could potentially migrate to New Zealand, either on a permanent basis or just to come and study here in New Zealand and acquire a world-class education and either head back home, or if you so desire, you could also stay back in New Zealand and pick up a career and go on to establish yourself as a resident and a future citizen in this beautiful country. Fantastic. Now, these are not ordinary times. These are reasonably unprecedented times in the history of humanity. I'm 51 years old, and I have never come across an international global situation like this, where pretty much the whole of humanity is wondering what is going to happen with this new virus that has taken over the world, called coronavirus. Is something we have all been hearing in the news over the last few days. Of course, now they've given it a name called COVID-19. So the COVID-19 has sort of taken a strong grip across the world, and of course, the ground zero, so to speak, or the main center was Wuhan in China, and then it spread from there, and it is looks like Europe has now become the next epicenter. So, what about a country like New Zealand, which also is, of course, we might be a far-flung island nation at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, but at the end of the day, we are part of the committee of world nations, and so what is New Zealand doing about this particular thing? And especially for all of you who follow my work and that of my team, who are planning to make a move to New Zealand, you must be wondering, so what exactly is the situation here in New Zealand? So here I am sharing some updates about what is happening with COVID-19 in New Zealand. And for I'll be honest, till about last week, I was sort of I'll say I was reasonably indifferent to all the news that was coming from across the world. But over the last 2 or 3 days, I think the nature and the tone of the cautions we're getting from our own government has gone up, and the Prime Minister has now announced certain restrictions, which I believe are one of the toughest in the world. Apparently, just similar to um, Israel, which has also put in place a very strong system of preventing the spread of this particular virus. So what New Zealand has done is that, and I'm gonna, it's because a lot of you rely on my advice. So what I'm gonna do is that, and I'm reading out from the official health, the Ministry of Health website of New Zealand. It says New Zealand has also introduced certain restrictions. So this is especially for those of you who are planning to migrate or come about to come here on a student visa. So what we have done is here in New Zealand, if you have been in any country except those listed in category 2 in the last 14 days, then you have to stay at home, which is called self-isolation, for 14 days from the date of departure or close contact. So So if you are essentially, that means practically any country, because the category 2 only refers to certain countries in the Pacific region, which seems to be largely unaffected, because I guess also by virtue of being, island nations. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I'm just hazarding a guess there. So if you're from a category 2 country, which is from one of the Pacific nations, and like Fiji, Tonga, Tuvalu, Niue, and those kinds of places, then I think you don't have to go into self isolation. But if you are coming from any other country, then you have to go into self isolation in New Zealand for 14 days from the date of departure of when you've left their countries. And so if you arrive in New Zealand before the midnight on Sunday 16th, or Sunday 15th March, from any country except Italy or South Korea, uh, you will, if you had arrived before this particular date, there was no need of self isolation. But I mean, since that day has passed, anybody arriving now into New Zealand has to go into self isolation. So what does the self isolation mean? So staying at home is actually a precautionary measure to protect those around you, your family, your friends, and your colleagues, and from possibly contracting the COVID-19 virus. And so self isolation is nothing but an effective measure of prevention. So I know, and the government is asking people to take simple, common sense steps to avoid close contact with other people as much as possible. Just like, while it happens during the flu season, you take good care, and of not being in close contact with people. And it basically, the government is advising whoever arrives into New Zealand after the Sunday, midnight Sunday, that you need to go into 14 days of self isolation, and as much as possible you should limit your contact with people other than the family members or companions you travel with. Okay, so that's what it is. And they're also strongly recommending that you should avoid having visitors to your home, but it is okay for friends, family, or delivery drivers to drop off food and supplies. Now, that is a very important point. So you have to kind of stay in there. If let's say you have booked yourself into an Airbnb, or into a hotel room, or into a bed and breakfast sort of a situation, then friends, family, and delivery drivers can still deliver food to you, but you need to stay indoors. So that is what the government is advising. So, and there are certain other things that they're advising. They're saying wash your hands often. They're asking you to cover your coughs and sneezes. So you don't just go ha 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 in the middle of a public, but we are taught to cough into the crook of our hand, so that you're not spreading your germs and viruses. The government is advising that face masks are actually not very effective. But if it gives you some semblance of mental peace to have a face mask, go ahead and wear one. But the government, the health line is saying that really, they are not very effective. And while you are at, let's say you have booked yourself into a hostel, into your institution, or in some other place, then they are suggesting, while you're staying at home, try to separate yourself from the people you live with, so that the spread is limited. Uh, so, and also, if you are living in a shared space, for instance, where you're sharing that home or apartment with other people, then the government is advising that you should not share a bed with others, and to try and create sleeping arrangements where you are not sharing common areas. So that is, they're also suggesting that you minimize the time you spend in shared spaces such as bathrooms, kitchens, and sitting rooms as much as possible, and keep shade spaces well ventilated. So that is another suggestion that you're giving. And if they're saying, if you use a shared toilet and a bathroom, which is quite common to a lot of students who come in, and they initially start off by using shade spaces, including bathrooms, then it is saying, the government is strongly recommending that it's important that you clean them after you have used them every time. For example, wiping surfaces you have come into contact with, and you may wish to be the last to use the shower or bath in the morning or evening, to make this easier on those who you live with. So that's another thing that They are suggesting, they're saying don't not to have visitors at your home. That's quite clear. And they're also about laundry. They're saying do not shake dirty laundry. This minimizes the possibility of dispersing the virus through the air. So don't take your dirty laundry and shake it in the air. It may be easier for someone else to fold and put away common laundry items such as towels and tea towels and provide a supply for you. So you should fold and put away your own laundry items. So yeah, if you live with an older or vulnerable people, which is probably not a likely scenario, but there are certain steps that you also need to take. Especially if you're taking care of somebody older, which is, I think, one of the things that's happening with the virus is it seems to be affecting slightly older people. This is very important. This is advice for using alternative accommodation like rental homes, hotels, motels, Airbnb, hired vehicles in Texas, and it says if you need to stay at home for 14 days and are considering using alternative accommodation, you must advise them in advance of your need to self isolate. The majority of people who will need to stay at home will be healthy, but suppliers may make their own decision whether to allow you to use their provisions in compliance with regarding regulations and regarding the industry. And if you so they are asking you to pretty much stay indoors. And also about transportation, about taxis. When you arrive in New Zealand, you may need to travel from the airport where you arrive to another part of New Zealand to get home, for example by plane, train, or bus. You do not have to self isolate when you where you arrive in New Zealand. You can continue on to the destination where you self isolate. For example, arriving at Auckland International Airport, but let's say coming to Hamilton, you can book a bus or a taxi and move from Auckland to Hamilton. Where possible, while traveling, sit in a window seat in a row by yourself. If you're unwell, you should seek advice from Healthline before you travel onwards. And Healthline is the government department. Which it's set up by the Ministry of Health, which helps people. I'll give you the number to contact at the end of this little introduction about what measures New Zealand is taking to um, suppress the COVID-19 virus. And they're also suggesting while traveling, if you're using public transport from the place you've arrived to where you need to go, that make sure you use hand sanitizer regularly. If you need to cough or sneeze, I repeat this one more time. They're saying cover your mouth or nose, or you can cough or sneeze into your sleeve. So ideally, have a clean, nice, clean handkerchief and cover yourself properly when you cough or sneeze. Or the other way of doing it is into the crook of your arm so that you don't spread, or just into your sleeve like that. Is the way normally people tend to do. And you can only use public transport after you arrive in New Zealand for the sole purpose of returning to your home. You can't use public transport, taxis, or similar transport methods during your 14 days period when you have to self isolate. And you can use, however, your own transport whenever you wish. So if you have a bike or a car which is already available when you come to New Zealand, you will be able to do that. Okay, now getting food and medicine. Where possible, contact a friend, family member, or delivery services to carry out errands like supermarket shopping on your behalf, because you have to self isolate. But I don't have to self isolate because I'm already living in New Zealand. So let's say you're my friend and you've arrived to Hamilton. You can call me and say, "Hey, Aaron, can you help me to get some groceries because I can't leave my home?" So a friend can do that and possibly leave the groceries outside your door, which you can then take inside. And we at AJB, understanding that students and people who have already made plans and have been planning to come to New Zealand, we have now set up a special person inside our team here in New Zealand whose only job is to be like to support all our students and clients who are going to arrive after Sunday and who will need to go into self isolation. And for those 14 days, guys and girls, I promise you, AJB will stand by you. And that is another advantage that all of you will have. So if you have to go into self isolation, I don't care which part of the country you are in, pick up the number phone and give us a call on 080 0800 696977. and tell us, hey, look, this is my situation. Can I get some local help? And we will have one of our people on the ground in whichever city you're in to come and help you with food and medicines and those kinds of things. And also the other important thing about isolating yourself, especially after you've just come into a new country, is that you might begin to feel a little anxious, and you might suffer from a little bit of homesickness. Please give us a call at AJV, and we will stand by you and support you. And if required, we will hook you up with some friends here from our AJV community, from our AJV family, who will share some kind of a common background with you, and they will talk you through this period for these 2 weeks and help you to move forward. So that is something that we at AJV would also like to do. I have also received confirmation from some of the institutions which said that because you have to self isolate as soon as you move to New Zealand, stay in self isolation, whether you're staying in a hostel or somebody's home or you've booked a hotel or wherever else. Just stay there, and but take a picture of your entry stamp onto your or from your passport and email it to the office to the institution where you're supposed to go. If you can't do it, send it to HEV and we will send it on your behalf, and we will also pick up the phone and let them know that you have arrived into the country and that you're under the mandatory self isolation, and anything else that AJV can do. So I would also strongly recommend that before you leave the airport, before you get into that taxi to go to your place where you have to self isolate yourself, please pick up a local SIM card at the airport, because if you're connected to the internet, and pick up a SIM card with enough data on it, so that we can. But again, if you have any problems whatsoever and you forgot to pick up that SIM card or you did something else, give us a call on the toll free number, which is 0800696977, which is the toll free number for uh, all AJV clients in New Zealand, and we will have it monitored very regularly from now onwards. So any emergencies, let's say somebody forgot to get your SIM card from the airport, we will try and organize a SIM card for you and have it delivered to wherever you're staying, so that you can stay connected with family and friends, and also call us. But you can call us on 0800696977, because it's a toll free number, which means there is no charge for you to call that particular number. So from our side at AJV, we are going to do everything possible so that you guys and girls who are coming into New Zealand after Sunday, who have to go into self isolation, will still be taken care of, because you're part of our family. And we understand it will not be an easy entry into New Zealand, but we will stand by you and ensure that this time passes without too much of a challenge or trouble for you. So that is one of the beauties of coming to New Zealand as an AJV person. And the institutions have told us that no problem, they, as long as they let us know that they have arrived into the country, there is no problem with that. So they just need to get proof from your passport that you've entered. So take a picture with your phone and either directly send it to the institution or send it to your AJV officer, and then we will forward it on to the institution. So I promise you, as the person who started this company and who manages it, that I and my team, we will stand by you and ensure it becomes uh, you know, a, a reasonably good experience despite the very unprecedented circumstances that we are going through. Okay, so they have not shut the borders in New Zealand. Borders are open, but it has become mandatory for anybody arriving after Sunday to go into self isolation for 14 days. And this is going to be implemented quite seriously, guys. So don't think that you can say I'm in self isolation and kind of move out and do things. Please understand you're coming into a country which takes its rules and regulations very seriously, and I think they're going to have spot checks, and they're going to do a few other things to ensure that people who are meant to be in self isolation are actually self isolated. And if they find that you have not self isolated, the Prime Minister gave a rather stern warning. She said that they will not be averse to deporting these people out of the country. So please do not risk your entire future in New Zealand by trying to step outside when you're in self isolation. Instead, call us at AGV and we will do whatever we can. Of course, we know that you are coming in as grown up, mature, intelligent people who will be able to take care of the situation practically all by yourself. But for anything else that you can't, you're running short of food, or you need a SIM card, or you need some medicines, or you need any other support, give us a call and we will come there. We will send somebody, or one of us will come there from our team, and we will take care of you. And if you are becoming unwell, if you do become unwell, you will need to pick up the phone. Please make a note of this number, and the number for Healthline is 0800 358 5453. So that is the number. I repeat it again: 0800 358 5453. That is the Healthline number. Again, it is a toll free number, so you don't have to have money on your phone. You can call this number from any phone anywhere. So I hope I made a few things clear. One, the borders of New Zealand are not shut to people from most countries. But once you enter New Zealand after Sunday, you will have to self isolate for 14 days. That self isolation is going to be monitored very strictly. So don't take chances, because you might get deported. And if you're an AGV client, fall back on us for any support that you need, and we will take care of that. And just follow all the other guidelines that I just reeled out to you. If you guys need more information, go to a website called health.govt.nz, which is health.govt.nz. And there, of course, you will see an update of how New Zealand is dealing as a citizen of the country, of course, and as a person who lives here with my family and friends. So I appreciate what the government is doing, because I think all countries are now trying to take care of their populations, and I appreciate what they're doing. But as governments, they will also have to ensure that it is business goes on, and international students especially contribute so much to New Zealand's economy and to our institutions. So we are still welcoming you, but there's just a few preventive measures being put into place, so that it benefits all of us in New Zealand, and you as well as a newcomer to New Zealand. So I hope I made myself clear. And if you guys still have any more doubts or questions, if you're an AJV client, just call your AJV officer, and we will clarify whatever question and answers that you have. Borders are not shut. You can still come in. If you're an AJV client, we will take care of you during your self-isolation period, including coordinating with the institution or whatever is required. All right, guys? Cool. So that's pretty much the opening introduction for today's session. And I can see that some people have joined in and asking me questions as always. I'm gonna quickly take a sip of water. I don't know if you guys noticed, but normally when I'm doing my live sessions, my throat tends to go dry very quickly, and then I start coughing. But now I'm actually a bit scared to cough with the kind of apprehension people are looking at anybody who's coughing. So like I said, as long as you're being having having common sense and taking care of yourself, I think yeah, it's all good. Hello, my team has joined in. My wonderful team, as always, supports me on the back end with notes on Skype, and to uh, yeah. So yeah, right, I'm trying to see if they have. Okay, okay. Now, the other important point that one of my colleagues has made is that AJV has perfected this system of working online with all you guys, whether it is giving advice right now through Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, or otherwise, most of our clients who have already worked with us, we realized how seamlessly we are able to work online, which is great, because in this times when people are trying to avoid contact, a company like AJV can still continue to work with you with absolutely no disruption. So please bear that in mind as well, that as a company, we are going at exactly the same pace as before. And so there is absolutely nothing to worry for you guys. All right. Cool. Excellent. Moving on. Onil Pandit, my friend, says, Kia ora, Onil. How are you? Hope you guys are doing well. And says, hello, Arun. Good to see you back more often. Well, I'm trying my best, Onil, as I keep complaining practically every week. My team is not letting go of an old man, and they still force me to work very hard. So the old man has no option but to work hard. But jokes apart, lovely to see you again as well, Onil. And Okay, and there is a question from Abhishek Kapri who says, "How many days it take to get?" I think he means get interview after lodging visa. I am from Nepal. Abhishek, some of the rules of this live session are that if you are an AGB client, you will need to identify and say, "Hey, look, I'm an AGB client, so can you please answer my question?" And if you're not an AGB client, we like to get your contact number because so that our team can get in touch with you later and see how we can assist you in your New Zealand journey. But because it's sort of the first question of my day, let me not play too tough by the rules. Yeah, I mean, there look sometimes there is no interview call at all, Abhishek. If so, people think that interview call is mandatory for every visa application that is submitted. It is not true. If a visa application is submitted in the right manner, in the right format, and with all the required documentation and a good covering letter, and professionally presented from a good company like AJV, sometimes the immigration department doesn't even bother to do any interview calls, and quite a lot of our students and other applicants get their visas without any interview call. So there is no set time as such when you will get an interview call. And like I said, if your case was well presented and if a visa officer can go through the documents and say, "Hey, look, everything is here there for me to take a decision," then it is not required. So I'm not sure if you're working with us because you have not mentioned that. If you're not working with us, please share your number and we would like to get in touch with you and see if we can help you. But if you've already applied through um, somebody else, well, all the very best. And I hope you get your visa and that you will come to New Zealand. But please do rewind and listen to my suggestions about how you must self isolate after you come to New Zealand. All right, cool. Sidesh Mitrani says, "Hello, Ron. How's going on?" Pretty good, Sidesh. All good, Matt. Where life goes on with or without COVID-19. And we at AJB are trying our best to keep up our work. And like I said, our model is so simple and clean and streamlined that it doesn't matter for us. Right now, I'm sitting in my home office and doing this live session while the rest of my team are sitting in different parts of the world, including UK, Middle East, Malaysia, and so many other places. So, yeah, I think as far as we are concerned, it doesn't really affect us. All right, cool. Krishna Tiwari says, "Hello, sir," but Krishna has not mentioned if he's. Uh, Okay, I'm gonna quickly go back to my team to say if anybody has, any of my team has given. So, Krishna, you have asked me some question, but you have not mentioned whether you're from an AGB client or not. It appears you're not an AGB client, so I would strongly recommend you share your number for me to be able to answer your question. All right, cool. Moving on. Uh, Abdul Sadiq says, "Hi, sir. Interested? I don't know. Interested in what, Sadiq? If you're interested in coming to New Zealand, then please share your number so that we can get in touch with you. If you do not want to share your number and you would like to call us instead, the numbers to call are these. So, our two main markets or the two main places where our teams are present are in India and New Zealand. We do have people working in other parts of the world as well who are part of Team AJB, but you can call us on these numbers. In India, we have set up a toll free number, and we've also set up a toll free number in New Zealand as well. So, pick up the number that is closest to you in terms of your time zone and give us a call, and we would love to connect with you. Or you can connect with us on Facebook. You can drop me an inbox message, and I can respond back to you and also connect you to some of my, yeah. Radio. Kevin Alexander Roche says, "Hi, Aaron, AJB client here." Hey, Kevin. Good to hear from you, Kevin. Always a pleasure to say hello to my clients. And once visa is filed, will I be called personally to visit VFS office along with my original passport? Most likely, no, Kevin, because by and large, the Immigration New Zealand also works through mail and also and nowadays, the physical visa is not being given any longer. It is mostly the e-visa, which comes in the format of a letter, and we send that to you. You just need to print out a copy of that and put it with your passport, and that's also more than likely you are not required to have, yeah, to a visit to VFS. Right. Eric Noel DeCosta says, "Hello, Ron. I'm an AJV student and my name is Eric. Hey, Eric. Lovely to say hello to you. As always, a pleasure to, say hello to our AJV clients. I would like to know if there are any delays to the processing of student visas from Mumbai on account of the COVID-19 virus. Not that we have heard of, Eric. Nothing at this stage. If you go back to the starting of this particular um, session, as I told you, we are putting certain restrictions in place to for people who come after Sunday, which is the Sunday that just went by. But other than that, there is no delays as such in the processing of visas. As far as immigration department is concerned, it seems to be business as usual. So I mean, we don't have any particular. The government of New Zealand has not shut the borders, which means if they have not shut the borders, Immigration Department of New Zealand will need to continue to issue visas. All right, cool. Okay, there is a question from Aditya Dhawan, and I'm quickly gonna flick back to right. Uh, Aditya Dhawan says, are visa applications put on hold due to Corona or college are considering to extend intake dates? I'm already in contact with AJV. Sajita is my case manager. Hey, Aditya, lovely to say hello to you. And as I just answered to Eric, there is no delays as such from Immigration New Zealand about processing the visas. But we don't know if the travel restrictions will get tougher going forward in the next few weeks. As of now, the travelers, I mean, as of now, if you get a visa, you can still travel to New Zealand. Only thing is, once you land here, you just have to take a copy of your entry stamp and send it to the institution to let them know that you have arrived and the institution will accept it because they will also have to adhere to the rules of the government and they understand that you will have to go into 2 weeks of isolation. I know a lot of institutions are already working on a backup plan to deliver some classes online while people are in self isolation. So everybody is kicking into their backup plans. But no, there and if at all required, of course they will provide an extension as well. But as of now, nothing has changed, Aditya. It is just the usual way. And as I said, you will also be allowed into New Zealand, but you will have to go into 2 weeks of self isolation, which will be monitored, and there will be spot checks, and which is where since you're coming as an AJV client, you can fall back on us for any support that you might need while you are, in self isolation. All right, cool. Okay, Minali Negi asks me some question, but Minali has not shared her number, so I'm not sure if Minali is one of our students. Minali, I would really like it if you can share your number, but she says, hello, sir. My friend is arriving on 19th. He's student of NZMA Hamilton campus. He worried what will happen to his attendance. He will be not able to attend the college for 14 days. Like I said, since it's a government regulation, people will have to, colleges will also have to take note of the fact that um, the person has arrived into the country, but because of legal reasons, and it's a legal reason now because it is a directive from the government that nobody should move out of their rooms or wherever they're staying and be in self isolation. So the colleges will have to uh, acknowledge that the person is in the country and treat him or her as being in the college. And that's the way it's going to be. So ask your friend not to stress too much. I don't know if your friend is an AJV client. If it's an AJV client, all the more reason why he should not stress because we will be there for him to support him in whatever ways he needs. All right, cool. Prashant Kirsur, hello Ron, I'm HEB student and wish to know the implication of COVID-19 on visa applications filed for student visa. Prashant, already answered it twice, but I don't mind repeating it one more time. As of now, there is no effect of the COVID-19 virus on the processing times, either at Mumbai or at Palmerston North or any of the places. I don't know if it reaches a situation where these officers will need to stop working because people are congregating. If that situation comes, I don't know what effect it will have. But take my word that even as we speak, I'm sure INZ is already planning its backup actions. And like I said, we inside AJV have also created our backup options. And strangely, we might have created it from day one of our company because we just created this very amazingly wonderful online way of working, connecting with all our clients. But Prashant, at this point, there is no delay in visa processing from immigration, nor is there a restriction on people who receive a visa to enter New Zealand. So either ways, you're not in any sort of trouble at this point. Only thing is, once you land here, you will have to go into self isolation for 14 days. And since you're coming as an AJV client, we will provide the support that is required while you're in those 14 days of isolation, including liaising with your institution and letting them know that you're present here and not to worry. All right, you guys are all AJV people. Don't worry. We are here in New Zealand. We will take care of you. All right, cool. Srishti Kohli, Srishti asked me a question, but Srishti does not mention if she is one of if Srishti is one of our clients. I'm going to check with my uh, team to see if any one of them has given me any update about Srishti. Srishti, your question is quite valid, and I would love to answer it. So, someone told you that it's very difficult for international students to get jobs in New Zealand. Well, I don't see any of our international students from AJV having any trouble. I think our students are all finding good jobs, and my constant refrain to that question is, it is not about anything other than your attitude, your skill, and your knowledge. And as long as you have those three attributes, you have nothing to worry about. Go to my YouTube channel called Arun Jacob, and there are hundreds of videos there. And search for a video, I think, which says, "Can I get a job in New Zealand?" or "Is it difficult for international students to find a job in New Zealand?" And I think I've explained at length why it can be tough for people who are not prepared to come into New Zealand or come here without any support after the land here. But for most of our AGV clients, I can tell you with a lot of assurance and with a lot of joy in my heart, actually, that most of them are finding good jobs and moving on, and a lot of them are also getting residency and so on and so forth. So I would say your someone who told you that there are no jobs in New Zealand is quite wrong, unless the someone is who is does not have the right skill, knowledge, or attitude, and failed in New Zealand and now trying to spread negative things about New Zealand, because New Zealand has got a shortage of skilled workers, and who better than international students who come into our country, study in our system and our institutions, and then go on to pick up their post-study work visa and enter our workforce. We would love to hire you people because we don't have enough people to fill our vacancies. So don't believe in someone, believe in someone like AJV, because yeah, when you get good onshore support in New Zealand, it's also when your confidence goes up and your ability to find a job goes up, because we also help in networking with other people, and we are kind of constantly working with our students to ensure that they are being well taken care of. So yeah, it all depends on you, as your choices as to have you come into New Zealand through the right company and the right people who will stand by you and help you to succeed. All right, see, I'm going out to the live and telling all my students and yeah, people who are about to enter New Zealand that, hey, look, long as you are an AGP client, and even if you have to go into self isolation for 14 days, don't worry, we will support you. All right, cool. Pranav Uplap says, I arrived on Sunday already in Hamilton. The city is beautiful. AJV office is at the central part of the city, which is amazing. Team AJV, appreciate what you're doing to curb COVID 19 and help all the AJVians. I wish you guys to stay safe as well. God bless you all. Hey, Pranav, thank you so much for that wonderful feedback. And hey, before I forget, warm welcome to Hamilton and to New Zealand. Hi, Mikey. Aotearoa, Rao Kirikiriroa, which is welcome to New Zealand and to Hamilton. Lovely to, I mean, yeah, you and I are probably 10, 15 minutes away right now, but very warm welcome. And I'm glad you arrived before the deadline expired to go into self isolation, which means you can get out and see us if you want. But just from a common sense perspective, I think it makes sense for all of us to kind of keep away from. I actually canceled two meetings this week in Auckland already because I'm trying to do my bit as well to ensure that we uh, fight this together. But warm welcome, Pranav, and do not hesitate to give us a call. And you are an AJV student, you are a member of the AJV family now, and we will provide you with whatever support you require. Please have this number handy: 0800 696977. That's our toll free number. And yeah, anytime if you do require any support, Pranav, please give us a call and we will take care of you. And I hope to meet you soon in person as well, as soon as this whole thing settles down. But next time you're passing by Victoria, and if you see the office open and there's a people, yeah, just stick your head in, say hello to Mary or Virginia or Anjana or Nicholas, or if I'm there myself or Rena. Yeah, it'll be lovely to say hello to our people. All right, cool. Okay. Sujamon Joes shared his number, which is fantastic. Thank you, Sujamon, and says, uh, "Will there be more rejection for Indians because of Corona?" I mean, hey, Sujamon, I don't think Indians had a lot to do with the coronavirus in terms of propagating it necessarily. I don't think. I mean, and I mean also immigration officers don't. Look at people's nationalities before they decline or approve a visa. I don't think they're supposed to operate like that. It has to take a really, really bad mood of a visa officer to do something like that. But by and large, they don't do it like that. So I don't think there'll be any special effects on. And India was not the epicenter anyway of the coronavirus. So which is why the government is still letting people traveling from India as long as they're not transiting through China or some other places. They are, I think, still letting them come into New Zealand. So absolutely no worries about that. Okay, right. Anirudh Ayagari says, Kia Arun, I've been to Hamilton twice but couldn't meet you. Thank you, AGV. I'm having a wonderful time in New Zealand. Hey, Anirudh, I'm so sorry. I do travel around quite a bit. And this may sound very funny and strange, but my team in Hamilton actually encourages me not to come to the office. They think that if I'm there, that I'm a bit of a distraction to their work. So they force me to try and stay outside the office as much as possible, which is a yeah, good observation of the way they all work because they're a fantastic and well coordinated team. Apparently, I go in and crack too many silly jokes and disrupt their flow of work. So I've been warned not to step into the office too often. But no, jokes apart, I do go there whenever I can. And but I do tend to work mostly from my home office because I work mostly with the team outside New Zealand, and they start only in the evening around 4:30 or 5 o'clock our time, and that's why I start my work around 5 o'clock every day in the evening in New Zealand, and then I go until very late into the night, and which is why I tend to sleep in a little bit in the mornings, and then I get up, and by the time it is time for me to take over the dad duties and do some things around home, and by the time I'm done with all those, picking up the kids from school and everything else, it's back to sitting at the computer and catching up with work. So, but hey, look, we were actually, I mean, it's again one of those sad things that had to happen was starting this week, we were actually planning to do the AJV get-togethers in Auckland, Christchurch, Hamilton, and various other cities. But unfortunately, because of the restrictions and the requests from, I think, the government saying try not to congregate, try not to spread this virus. So what we have done is we have actually put those plans on hold. But yeah, as soon as this thing blows over, we will start having our HOA get-togethers again, and I'm sure I'll meet you at the time on it. But thanks for dropping by, and I hope you had a good time catching up with the others at the HOA office. Shavik Banerjee asks again. Shavik hasn't asked me any thing about. Okay, I'm gonna quickly take a break, sip some water. Right here. Okay, my team has given me Okay, Shawik, I have confirmation that you are one of our clients, which is great. Hey, Shawik, lovely always to say hello to our AJB clients. And she says you're the spouse of Indrani, who is one of our AGV clients. So always a pleasure. I'm going to come back to your question again now. And Shavik asked, do you see any delay in the July intake for colleges? So at this stage, there is no indication of that, Shavik. And I've been already, talking to some of the senior managers at some of the institutions, and I think they're all beginning to fall back onto their backup plans. So I even heard some of them that they might consider delivering so that they don't delay the intakes, because it just has too much of a domino effect on way too many people, least of all, and not to mention the students themselves. So I think because we have time from now till July, which is we are in March still, around the middle of March. So we have half of March and April and May and June, and most likely half of July as well, because most of them tend to start around the middle of July. So that's a good 5 months. I think in the next 5 months, I have a lot of belief in the ability of our scientists, the global scientific community, to find a cure for this particular thing and come out with a vaccine or some sort of a remedy for the coronavirus. And I don't think at this stage, my gut feel is that I don't think it will affect, but let's keep off, wait and watch. And I think everybody everywhere globally will go into backup plans, which might include, starting off with online classes and then getting you guys over eventually. So we'll wait and watch. But as of now, there is no indication showing that there is going to be a delay. All right. Yeah. Ashok Yadav says, hi, I'm from Nepal. I can apply for New Zealand. Of course, you can, Ashok. There is no restriction on people from Nepal who have to apply to come and study in New Zealand or migrate to New Zealand. In fact, we've been fortunate and blessed to have a lot of very good Nepali clients over the years. And absolutely. But you'll need to share your number, my friend, because unless and until you share your number, we will not be able to help you. So please share your number. Syed Din. Why AJV is only insisting on immigration for educational purpose? Is it business-based strategy? I'm not a hater, but after passing through your review on my profile, I feel you want business by saying us we are not eligible, creating fear. How I wish what you say is true, Syed. The fact is, I tell this till the point my throat aches. The policy does not allow at this point in time to help people to migrate directly into New Zealand, and I will, for the sake of clarifying it to you one more time. The rule very clearly says that if you're planning to come as an investor, then you need to have 10 millions if it's investor one. If you're not coming as investor one, if you want to come as investor two, then you need to have at least $3 million. If you don't have all that, then your next fallback is to come as an entrepreneur, but that is not an easy pathway. And again, a lot of money is involved, and the chances are very, very slim. Then comes the skilled migrant category where you can immigrate. And for that, you need to either have a job in New Zealand or an offer of skilled employment in New Zealand, or you should have studied in New Zealand for 2 years or more, and get yourself a master's or a PhD degree. And because a lot of people, most of them don't qualify for any one of these four or five things that I told you, is why we recommend the steady and settled pathway. I mean, the way I mean in this age and time with so much information all around you, it will be very stupid on our part to create fear, as you say, because everybody has got information at their fingertips. So, and if we are people who are trying to create fear in the general public at large, we won't be coming online week after week. I bet there is no other company on this earth who gets online week after week. Myself, Mary, Tulika, Navya, and we keep talking and giving honest, good advice. Because in this live session, I can't, talk nonsense and try to create fear, as you say. The fact is the rules don't permit you right now to enter New Zealand through gate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are suggesting gate 6. If you don't want to take it up, so be it. But like I said, gate 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 gates 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are very difficult or almost impossible at this point, and that's the reason we have to suggest to people to look at the steady and settled pathway. All right. Thank you. Okay, Minali comes back and says, "Hi Arun, my friend is AJV client. He's traveling as of now. He will reach New Zealand on 19th. He's worried about his attendance in this as he has been to isolate himself for 14 days. Minali, thanks for confirming that. I don't, you haven't shared your friend's number but or name. Please ask him to watch this live session because it will become a video and sit on Facebook and YouTube and on Instagram. Please ask him to go through it. And he has assurance from the owner and the founder of the company that we will take care of him and he's got nothing to worry about. I'll pick up the phone and talk on his behalf to the institution and ensure everything is smooth. All right, Minali. So please pass on this message to him from me to him, and please ask him to watch this video as well. Mahesh Silva shared his numbers. Thanks, Mahesh. Hello, Arun. Can you please advise on new timelines for work to residency residence visas? Will those be in the same queue as SMC or is there a separate queue? Good question, Mahesh. I know for a fact that work to residence applications are always treated with a in a slightly different manner. So I do believe there will be a separate queue for those things. As far as the timelines are concerned, I can't comment on it, Mahesh, because I don't know what is happening internally with INC at the moment. But I do know work to residents have got that slight bit of edge as compared to a generic skilled migrant category application. So because of that, I do believe that there could be a faster turnaround time for work to residencies because work to residencies essentially are with accredited employers, so which means the INZ has already done a certain amount of pre-vetting, because of which there was slightly higher confidence in those applications. So I do believe it will go fast. But if you want to get more details, give us a call. Speak to Mary on 0800 that is our toll free number. Call and speak to Mary, who's my colleague and a senior manager of AJB and also a licensed immigration advisor. And she can provide you more information. Or if you're looking at some help with your visa, she'll also be happy to provide our professional assistance as well. All right, go. Hi, Arun. Divyasri. Hi, Arun. I'm an AGV student. I got my AIP on Friday. Fantastic. Congratulations, Divyasri. Thank you so much, AGV team, for your effort and dedication. I want to know after how many days usually will get the e-visa from Palmerston North office because I'm from Qatar and here situation is getting worse and we'll have to leave Qatar at the earliest. And also after reaching New Zealand, I will definitely self-isolate for 14 days. And can you please share again the contact number of AJB for help during isolation period? Absolutely, Divya. First and foremost, congratulations. Second, from AIP to e-visa, it doesn't take too long. Normally, not more than a week or 10 days time. Normally, Mm, I hope there is no FTS involved in your situation. But by and large, and we will also see if we can exert some pressure. And the number you will need to remember is 0800 That is our toll free number. It is also there on our website ajvglobal.com. Plus, you would have also received a welcome guide now that you got your AIP. Your visa officer from AJB will send you the welcome guide, and so you can in that also all the contact numbers will be there. All right, Divya, but many congratulations and coming to New Zealand without fearing anything. I know you have to go into self-isolation, but we will be a call away to support you during that time as well. All right, and I hope you'll be able to get out of Qatar soon before they close down the borders. Cool. Rightio. Okay, let me quickly go back to check if my team is giving me any suggestions or if I need to show wake is answered. Singh Surjit. Mm, okay. So there is a question from Singh Surjit. He says, "Hi, sir. I want to ask, what is time taken by University of Auckland to give admission in PhD?" Okay, so PhD applications, Surjit, unfortunately, are not in the hands of anybody except the professor who chooses to be your supervisor. And if you have already found a supervisor, that it shouldn't take too long. But if you are still trying to find as a potential supervisor, then it can take a very long time because first and foremost the university has to look at finding the right person who can supervise, and that supervisor need to have adequate space in this department to be able to take on a new research student and so on and so forth. So by and large, PhD cases can get drawn out and can go for a little longer, which is why sometimes we also suggest to people who have started the PhD process and it's just going on and on and on and doesn't come together very quickly. Then what we tell them is, hey, do you want to consider doing a master's instead, because that can be a lot quicker. So I would also recommend to you that you might also want to consider having a master's as a backup while you're continuing your efforts with the university to get your PhD into place. But like I said, it can take some time, and sometimes it can go on for months and months together before you get a reward from the faculty. So just my suggestion to you would be to consider having a master's as a backup. My team tells me that you also have a brother who lives in New Zealand, so that could also be an advantage for you to be able to show your living expenses and so on and so forth. So yeah, it'll be good. All right, thank you. Next question is from Farouk Sheikh, and he says, "I'm in contact with Mubaraka. If I want to switch my agent in the middle of the process, and if I want to join AJV family, then is that easy, or I have to go some process?" Okay, so what happens, Farouk, is there is no restriction on when you can shift an agency. In fact, last few weeks I've been going around uh, to across New Zealand, and I've been meeting some universities. I was at University of Canterbury, and I was also at Lincoln University, and then of course I'm in constant touch with many senior of managers from different institutions, and they understand that sometimes students want to shift the agency because they perceive a better advantage working with someone like AJB, who, I mean, because we do provide a lot of very distinctive advantages to our clients, including this live interaction right now. How many other companies would actually sit there, and a licensed immigration advisor is sitting there and giving good honest information. So, and a lot of people realize that, okay, going with AJB means I'll have a better chance. So I mean, and so what we do is you tell let us know, let Mubaraka know who is this which is this university or institution that you're planning to get into. We will talk to them, and we will get that particular institution. You might have to write a letter to them explaining why you want to change. And I mean, I'm putting it out in the public space. That letter will be with no compulsion from our side or any coaching from our side. We are not in the habit of stealing clients from other agencies. Absolutely not. But if somebody does genuinely want to come and work with us, we will welcome you with open arms. And the process is not very difficult. It is quite a simple process. So as long as you are talking to Mubaraka, we will get it sorted, Farooq. But thank you for considering to work with AJV, because you obviously have perceived the advantages of working with someone like AJV. And yeah, we would be delighted to work with you as well, Farooq. All right. Thank you so much. How am I doing on time? I seem to be doing pretty well, but tons of questions today. What is it like, Ma? Okay, and there's a big, big, big question from Manuel the vlogger. Okay, hi Arun, good evening. I'm trying to read it as quickly as I can. Hope you're doing well. All good, Manuel. I'm AJV client and in touch with Mariam. As virus has affected world's major economies, including New Zealand, on great extent. Therefore, I would like have your practical opinion on the following. As per the New Zealand Herald, 50% and part-time job may be at high risk, and after a setback for the upcoming students like us are always given priority in recruitment policy. This is because those locally laid off workers will start seeking new jobs, can increase and makes the competition tougher. Okay, one is you're worried about jobs. Two, okay, even retail sector of New Zealand has decided to curtail certain jobs. Okay, that's your second point. Does recently made racist comments by New Zealand politician. Okay, third comment. Fourth, if India gets adversely affected by coronavirus. Oh, Manuel, you have a lot of questions, my friend. Okay, so I'm going to answer this quickly because I'm also almost at the end of my time, but you really, really have a lot of questions here. So, first and foremost, will it affect the employability of people? Don't know. Because if businesses are losing money and they can't afford to employ more people, the possibility might exist. But you also have to bear in mind that businesses will still need to continue to operate, and that there are certain industries which will continue to need to have people and workers. So am I guaranteeing you that you will definitely find a job? I cannot do that because we don't know at this stage how this whole thing is going to play out. But the fact of the matter is, if you are a good, smart, intelligent person, you would still be able to find that one single job that needs to sustain you. I'm quite certain about that. About the racist comments about from a politician recently, I think I already spoke about it in my last live session. It is the year of elections, so people will have to make statements to garner some attention and some votes. So don't take it too seriously. This particular politician has made comments in the past as well, and things continue to keep going on. If India gets adversely affected by coronavirus, I don't know. At this point, I think India is also fighting it quite strongly. So yeah, I think don't think at this point there are no indications whatsoever that people from India will be uh, barred from entering New Zealand. There will be Right. And what is your opinion about the recently made changes in getting residence visa, which says there will be a new residence visa for some people holding the new temporary to apply for residence based on the new. You will need to be paid over 200% of the. Again, like I said, you will have to bear in mind that yes, they are tightening the skilled migrant category to a certain extent, and that's because we are getting a lot of good quality applications, and because of that, they are, I think, weeding out some of the ones that are not so strong. And well, see again, but you have to bear in mind that New Zealand needs to have skilled migrants coming in year on year, and we, I think, approximately need about 50 to 60,000 every year to acquire residency and stay put. Do jobs and earn taxes and pay money, and even if there is a layoff and people are not getting jobs and so on and so forth, you've got to bear in mind that before you're coming to New Zealand as a student, you're declaring on a legal document that you have $15,000 to take care of yourself for living expenses while you are a student in New Zealand. So one will work with the assumption that even if you cannot find part-time job during the whole 1 year of your study visa in New Zealand, you have access to those funds to be able to take care of yourself. So that's a clear assumption the government of New Zealand has about you and also people like us, which is the worst case scenario. And in a year's time, really, this whole thing will blow away, and then you will finish your course and you'll get your 2 or 3 or years post-study work visa, and then you will enter into the job market. And hopefully by that time, this whole Corona thing would have gone away, and people, it will be business as usual. So I don't think you should stress too much. And if you have kind of gone way into the process of already moving into New Zealand, my sincere advice to you, Manuel, is not to lose heart and go on with it. And confidence in yourself and faith in the combined goodness of humanity and your advisors like AJV. I think it will come through. So don't stress too much because as a 51-year-old man who has seen a lot of life, I can tell you, things will go bad, but then they'll go good again, and then again they'll go right. It's like a very cyclical thing. So don't worry too much about it. Okay, Srikant Krishnamurthy says, "Thank you, Arun, for sharing precautionary measures to be taken while we plan our studies in New Zealand. We will stay connected with the wonderful AGV team for helping and supporting each other. Appreciate the due diligence taken by AGV team." Yeah, hey, thanks, Srikant. I always appreciate your support for us, and you also have such a lovely way of writing. So much appreciated of and I look forward to seeing you here soon, Srikant. And please come with full confidence that we are here to support and guide you, and we will take care of you. All right. Cool. Okay, so I think we are almost to the end of my session. I might have already crossed over, I think, into a 6 hour. My good friend Jyoti, who is my colleague, normally puts a little bell icon by now into the Skype chat to tell me that my time is up. But because she is not doing it, I'll ring the bell anyway and let you know that I'm almost done with this particular live session, but I'm going to read out one last query from one of, I think, Mahesh Silva. And this is shared by my colleague Ruben. And it says INC is making changes to how we prioritize some resident visa applications. Who will we prioritize? Okay, so the statement from INZ is we will continue to prioritize people with occupational registration and those earning twice the median wage, which is currently NZ 51 an hour or 106,080 a year. That is what they are trying to prioritize. So, what does this mean? This means that people who require professional registration, occupational registration, like nurses, teachers, doctors, lawyers, architects, quite a few. There is a list of people who require occupational registration. They are saying they're going to prioritize them because obviously that is in a reasonably big skill shortage area. Or people who are earning 106,000 $0.80 per year. How many people earn that in New Zealand? Not a lot, and especially those out of those applying for skilled migrant category. I don't think there will be a lot of people. So if assuming there are a certain number of visas, I don't think both these categories, that is those requiring occupational registration and those earning twice the median wage, will be more than 10%. Is my just my guesstimate. Of course, I'm not basing this on any fact. I don't think the total number of applicants sitting in the big pool will be more than 10%, which means once they finish prioritizing that, they will have to come back to the rest of the 90% and then keep picking it up. But obviously the higher the salary, the better the chances. The higher the skill in a particular skill shortage area, obviously they're going to. So what has happened is, because the volume of our applications for skilled migrant category has gone up so much that Immigration New Zealand is now able to pick and choose. So, yeah, not to worry. Like I said, I think the overall percentage of both these two types of people which are being prioritized will not be more than uh, yeah, I don't think it'll be more than, I'm saying 10, but it could be maybe even 20, 25% tops is what I think to be in the priorities list. Yeah, that's my understanding. So I don't think they will then stop doing it for other people as well, because, like I said, 15 years in the system and having looked at it. So even assuming that these two sets of people, which is those requiring occupational registration and also those who are earning $106,080 per year, is even assuming it's up to 25%, the bulk of the applications are still 75%, and which means after they finish prioritizing, and there's no guarantee that everybody in that bracket will get their residency as well. There might be health issues, they may not be able to verify certain things, there might be fraudulent documents, so on and so forth. So when you slice and dice and bring it back to kind of basic math, I think we are only still looking at 10 to 15% of people who will make the cut. So anyhow, don't stress too much about it. I keep saying, this is one of the things that I keep sharing in all my live sessions, is that going overseas is not an easy task, and which is why I understand the apprehensions with which a lot of you come onto these live sessions and ask questions. And I'm glad that myself and my colleagues Mary, Tulika, and Navya can come here week after week, 3 or 4 times in a week, and speak to you guys and give you some assurance. Before I close this session, one more time, I would like to assure all our clients, our AJV clients especially, that one more time, that there is no ban on your entry into New Zealand, except if you're transiting through certain countries, which I'm sure you will avoid now. And once you come, the only thing is you will need to go into self isolation. But during that self isolation period, the institution will accept you as being present in the country and enroll with them. And we at AGV will support you if you have any emergency requirements while you're in your self isolation. All right, guys. So I'm hoping and praying this whole COVID-19 situation will go away quickly. And please be sensible, all of you. take your measures, be preventive measures. And I'm glad for all those of you who are working with AJV, you're working with a company which has absolutely perfected the online way of interacting with our clients, whether it is just information or actual processing of your applications, that it will be business as usual as far as AJV is concerned. All right. Thank you very much. As always, I think it was a pretty longish session today, but I knew there would be a fair bit of apprehension around the COVID-19 virus. But yeah, come in with confidence and don't stress too much. And together, I'm sure we will all move forward stronger and happier. And hopefully, we'll put this whole crisis behind us very soon. All right. So, good night. And please share my video because this will become a video and sit on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. So, please share it with your family and friends. And as always, thank you for your wonderful support to Team AGV. And till the next time, good night from Hamilton, New Zealand. Bye bye.